Earlier this week, we got a look at some images of not one, but two prototypes for the upcoming 992.2 Speedster. And the extra-wide bodywork tells us that this isn't going to be any ordinary Speedster, if there is such a thing. And rumor has it that this will be the first ever Speedster RS.
Alright.
And according to some reports, the upcoming Speedster will be featuring some brand new technology. But before those images were published, Instagrammer Flockstory posted a distorted picture of the prototype, and I guess everyone momentarily forgot that the 911 Speedster was a thing, and it was widely reported to be the first ever GT3 Cabriolet. But we can be confident that this will be the Speedster and not a new Cabriolet variant of the GT3, because the last time Porsche tested out a new Speedster, it used a standard Carrera windshield and soft top for the prototype, and the exact same thing happened in the media. But when the car was finally revealed, it was a full-blown Speedster.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Porsche 911 Speedster.
And the upcoming 992.2 version may end up being the most desirable iteration of the 911 Speedster ever, because not only is it the swansong of the 992 generation, it may also be the last naturally aspirated Speedster ever made.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
As the head of Porsche's GT department, Andreas Preuninger said that Porsche will most likely stop using naturally aspirated engines in 2027.
This can't be happening!
And since the Speedster only comes out about once every 8 years, that would certainly make this the last naturally aspirated example. And the last time Porsche made a drop-top swansong, it looked like this. If you're new to the Porsche world and not familiar with the concept of the 911 Speedster, whenever Porsche is about to retire their current 911 chassis, they like to produce a limited edition driver-focused roadster that's stripped down and features a shorter, swept-back windshield, a manually raised soft top, and a twin-bubble tonneau roof cover behind the seats, all in homage to the original 356 Speedster. The first 911 Speedster came out in 1989, and it was a lovely, lightweight 911 Carrera with turbo fender flares and the signature shortened windshield and twin-bubble tonneau roof cover. The car was an instant fan favorite, and today they can sell for well into the 300,000s. The next Speedster was based on the 964, and Porsche kind of phoned it in by taking a standard Carrera 2 Cabriolet, stripping out a few of the luxuries, and giving it the shorter windshield and signature roof cover. People rebelled by turning 964 Cabrios into the wide-body Speedster that Porsche should have made. For the 993 generation, it is believed that two very different cars were built for two special people. One for Ferdinand Alexander Porsche and the other for Jerry Seinfeld. But there's a lot of debate and speculation about these cars, and none were ever sold to the public. Porsche skipped the 996 generation entirely, but the Speedster returned with the 997. This time it was based on the Carrera GTS and was extremely controversial. For starters, Porsche made the mistake of offering it with a PDK transmission only, and both the exterior and interior of the car were polarizing. But over the last couple years, these cars have become extremely valuable, fetching anywhere from $350,000 to $450,000. But recently, these prices have begun dropping, and that trend is probably going to continue as there are much more desirable Porsches that can be had for that kind of money. The last 911 Speedster Porsche built was in 2019, and it was a truly wonderful machine. Looking at it, you would think it is a modified GT3. but it was actually built on the Carrera 4 Cabriolet chassis, yet it does feature plenty of GT3 components like the engine, wheels, and body panels. But Porsche didn't just throw a standard GT3 engine into the Speedster. They increased the power output from 493 to what Porsche first reported was 502 horsepower, but then later reported to be over 510 horsepower. They achieved this with individual throttle bodies, 25% higher fuel injection pressure, and a 22-pound lighter exhaust system. Porsche also offered a heritage design package for the 991 Speedster, with some fantastic details like bicolor leather furnishings in black and cognac, carbon elements in GT silver metallic, and an all-metal gold-plated Speedster logo type, plus an eye-catching graphics package that should look ridiculous, but somehow it doesn't. If you're new to my channel, I publish original automotive content that you cannot find anywhere else, so if you're not subscribed yet, click below to subscribe. To date, every Speedster has had a naturally aspirated engine, and the upcoming Speedster is guaranteed to continue that trend, as it shares the same exhaust as the current GT3, and turbocharged Porsches have tailpipes that are situated farther apart. A manual transmission is pretty much guaranteed as well.
A guarantee.
The latest Speedster is most likely built on the Carrera 2 Cabriolet chassis, as it's much easier to convert a Cabriolet to a Speedster than the coupe, and it's not built on the Carrera 4 chassis like the last model, as according to Porsche, all 911 convertibles have the same width. At the front, we've got the standard 992.2 GT3 fascia, which would not bode well for the Speedster's more simple styling, as the last model had extremely clean lines, and this front would hinder that visually. But this is just an early prototype, so hopefully the production version will feature a different front. The front of the 911 ST would certainly look better. The hood appears to be identical to that of the GT3, but it looks good, so we can't complain. At a glance, the front fenders look to be identical to those of the 911 ST, but at the front, they incorporate the new GT3 fascia, which is extremely different from the ST. So these are something made specifically for this car, and since this is an early prototype, they could end up looking different on the production version. Another small detail that sticks out is that the Speedster prototype is using the 992.1 door handles and not the latest handles that sit flush on the door from the 992.2. The prototype also features center lock wheels and the older style stone guards that were found in the last Speedster but are not present on the latest 911s. We do get some slight views of the interior, but from what we can see, everything is the same as the standard 911 interior. I threw this image together of what the upcoming 911 Speedster might look like, and it looks pretty damn good. Porsche is testing two new Speedsters simultaneously, and we know this because one has a Euro license plate configuration and the other has a US license plate configuration. Also, the Euro car has these 4 pieces of tape holding a piece of camouflage over the Porsche lettering, and the US car has a differently shaped piece of molding over the lettering. Porsche is either doing this to speed up the testing process, or they are testing 2 different versions of the Speedster, perhaps an RS version and a standard version.
Right, he's good.
The prototypes are not wearing any camouflage, which means one of 2 things. Either Porsche has not mounted any production bodywork on them yet, so there's nothing to hide, or The cars are complete, and this is exactly how they are going to look, minus the shorter windshield and tonneau roof cover. Now I know that I said we can confidently say that this is the new Speedster and not a Cabriolet, but I do have to point something out, and it sounds ridiculous and goes against all Porsche reason and logic, but I could not in good faith make this video without saying that there is a small chance this might actually end up being a GT3 Cabriolet.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
If we take an extremely close look at the back of both of the prototypes, we see a unique deck lid intake that we've never seen before. It sort of looks like the deck lid from the 911 ST, but it isn't. It's definitely not the deck lid from the 992.2 GT3 Touring, and it's definitely not the deck lid from the 992.1 GT3 Touring. It's also not the deck lid from the 992.2 GTS Cabriolet or the 992.1 GTS Cabriolet, or any other 911 for that matter. So now the question is, why did Porsche go to the trouble to develop a unique deck lid that's just going to get discarded and replaced by a different deck lid? It's hard for me to imagine that Porsche would make a GT3 convertible, but this detail does raise some questions.
Coincidence? I think not!
Don't be looking at me like that, all right? I can feel your look.
But this new deck lid may also offer some insight into the most important element of the car, the engine. Since the intake on the deck lid is so similar to the deck lid on the 911 ST, it might be powered by the same engine, which would not be too far out of line since the last Speedster had more horsepower than the GT3.
Bro was on.
And we know that the latest Speedster is going to be even more special than previous models.
Yeah, I like that.
In addition to the new bodywork and new engine, the upcoming Speedster is going to feature some new technology.
What do you mean by that?
In an article published by Car Magazine, Gorg Catcher wrote, according to those in the know, small cameras perched high up on the fuselage will eliminate those huge rear three-quarter blind spots for good. At the same time, stealth proximity sensors are likely to protect the vulnerable ally wheels from curb rash. It's believed that Porsche will be installing two small cameras behind the seats, which will send a live image to a screen in the cabin that is supposed to compensate for the rear three-quarter blind spot that is created by the lower seating position and the raised tonneau cover. There's also rumors that the upcoming Speedster will be getting an electronic roof, which would upset a lot of Porsche's customers due to the added weight, but there have been a few complaints about leaky Speedster roofs, and an electronic roof would fix that. My guess is that this will remain a rumor and Porsche will stick with the lighter manual roof, but we'll have to wait and see. So now the big questions. When will it be revealed? How many will be made? How much will it cost? And will you be able to buy one?
Well, are you gonna go for it?
The 911 Speedster typically gets revealed at the end of a chassis life cycle, so it seems pretty early for Porsche to begin testing the Speedster, but Porsche has been extremely unpredictable over the last couple years. Autoblog suggests that it might be coming out sooner than normal, and they reported the following. Porsche's financial troubles may be forcing it to consider pushing out a high-profit, low-volume special edition earlier than normal. And while that may be true, another factor is that the tightening emissions regulations in Europe make high-performance engines that are free of turbocharging and electrification nearly impossible to legally produce. So we might be seeing the Speedster sooner than expected, but if Porsche sticks to their schedule of making the Speedster the last car of the chassis run, it's going to be an extremely long time before we see it. Porsche first revealed the 992.1 911 all the way back in November of 2018, and it went on sale a few months later as a 2020 model. So it's looking like the half-life of the 992 chassis is 4 years, and with the 992.2 only being on sale for about a year now, it could potentially be another 3 years till we get an official reveal. Another possibility is that Porsche could be building this car to celebrate 70 years since the introduction of the 356 Speedster back in 1955, and if that's the case, a reveal will happen this year. But we should also consider the very slight chance that this will be a GT3 Cabriolet, which would end up being revealed sometime this year, and then there could possibly be a Speedster being revealed a couple years later. It made me uncomfortable to say that, but I feel like it does need to be mentioned due to how early these prototypes are being tested and that unique deck lid that we talked about earlier.
Not a great plan.
The next question is, how many will be made? The last Speedster was limited to just 1,948 units, but that was 6 years ago, and today Porsche is making their limited edition cars even more exclusive and even more expensive. A good example of this is the 911 Spirit 70 that was revealed back in April of this year. Despite the fact that the car was a nothing burger GTS Cabriolet with a few pointless customizations, Porsche only made 1,500 of them. That's 448 fewer than they made of the last Speedster. So if Porsche thinks the 911 Spirit 70 was such a special car that it needed to be limited to 1,500 units, we might be seeing even fewer of the upcoming Speedster. Another possibility is that since the original Speedster was introduced back in 1955, Porsche might be building 1,955 of them. The next big question is, how much will it cost? Whatever sticker price Porsche attaches to this car will be irrelevant, as dealership markups will add at least another 6 figures to this price.
Yeah, well, that ain't nothing but a thing.
The last limited edition Porsche we saw on this scale was the 911 ST, which had a sticker price of $290,000, not including any additional dealership fees. But since then, Porsche has been jacking up their prices for all sorts of reasons, and if I had to guess, I would expect the upcoming Speedster to have a sticker price of roughly $330,000. So if you do have that much money to spend on a car, what are the chances that you can actually buy one? This car is going to be extremely exclusive, and I'm talking way more exclusive than you need to buy 3 Taycans in order to purchase one. I'm talking if Porsche didn't reach out you directly to offer you an allocation for the 911 ST, then unfortunately you probably won't get the chance to purchase the upcoming Speedster new, and you'll need to pay the highly inflated used costs. And with used 911 STs selling for anywhere between $800,000 and $1 million, we can probably expect the same for the Speedster. So hopefully, if you have the means to purchase the new Speedster, you will get the opportunity to do so. But as someone who does not, I'm still very excited about this car coming out, and you can expect additional reporting from me as soon as new information becomes available. Thank you for watching, and for more automotive content that you cannot find anywhere else, click here to subscribe.